a brokerage is a necessity. A team isn't. And so team leaders have had to work harder than the legacy franchise owners to achieve what they've achieved. And to me, that's an entrepreneur who's going to win.
Good morning. Welcome to another Motivational Monday. May the 4th be with you, Robert.
May the 4th be with us. I'm feeling particularly laid back today. It's part of why we're a little late getting out of the shoot here. But may the 4th be with us all.
Yes, that's right. Today's a special day.
Tomorrow, Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo.
And then the big special day today.
Yes, Maya's birthday.
Happy
my daughter's
birthday,
birthday.
Maya.
Happy birthday, Maya. When Robert first met Robert and Jill, and she was a big fan of the Palmers.
She's 19 now. Well, 19. She probably 6 or 7 when I met her. Or maybe a little younger. We've known each other for a long time, man.
Yeah, it's been really great. So excited for that today. Great weekend. How was your weekend, man?
Good. We were in Austin all last week. Got back. What did we get back? Thursday?
Thursday morning.
We got back Thursday morning from Austin. Took the girls to Disney yesterday.
Okay.
We did Hollywood Studios.
Okay.
Hollywood Studios, which was a lot of fun. And again, I'm feeling super laid back today. So something about May. I don't know, the weather, being back in Florida. After this crazy, grueling schedule we've been on, SpringCon was absolutely amazing. And then we had the T360 event. I know we got a bunch of stuff we're going to share on this. The T360 event on stage. Then we went to Austin for HousingWire to be on stage. We did a big Team Growth Pro mastermind while we were in Austin, which is a wild room, right? I think we had 8 of the largest teams in the country in that mastermind, which I don't know that's ever happened before. I don't know that 8 of the top 20 have ever gotten together in a room before, which is pretty cool. But man, I'm feeling super laid back today, so it's good. I'm feeling chill, zen.
All right,
zen
that's a good place to be, especially at the speed that we typically run. I want to talk about the mastermind real quick, because the unique thing about these type of masterminds is that we have the opportunity of learning what's happening in the business in real time. Like, what obstacles does the macro environment create for our entrepreneurs today? And that's not just about team leaders. It's about, the business as a whole. And so, yes, we have insight to the team leader, but we also have insight to the individual agent. And I know we're really kind of talking about reframing the way that we talk about those two groups of people, but we understand about what's happening, and we understand how to start supporting you differently. And we can then layer on what we're seeing and say, okay, here's where the puck is being slid to. How do we help you get there? How do we avoid some of these things together that could be, if we weren't having that conversation? So that was really good. And you had an opportunity to talk about that at T360, at HousingWire. And so kind of walk us through, how you shared that from the stage.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So, one of the, and I forget if this was at HousingWire or at T360, but I talked about this idea. Like, I've not been shy about that. I think the legacy franchise model is going the way of the dinosaur, And, my core belief is that real estate teams have had to work harder than those legacy franchise brokerages, right? Because you have to have a brokerage. Right? We talked about this before. Like, there's really no such thing as a solo agent. Mm-hmm. Every agent has to hang their license with a brokerage. And so a brokerage is a necessity. A team isn't. And so team leaders have had to work harder than the legacy franchise owners to achieve what they've achieved. And to me, that's an entrepreneur who's going to win. And so as the legacy franchises start to fade and kind of lose favor and can't keep up from technology standpoint and everything else, the team construct, which we've seen a lot of legacy franchise owners come and launch teams at LPT because it gives them more flexibility and freedom. And I think the big thing that I'm really focused on is how do teams now begin to help our individual agents at a higher level? And I think the core there is, in the past, brokerages have blocked teams from being able to help individual agents, right? They created this very narrow avatar of what a team member means, right? The team leader has to take at least this much money on every transaction or they can't be on the team. And again, all this was dictated by the brokerage, and we're tearing that down. And so what I'm really pushing the industry to do is, as we see the kind of the shrinking or the receding of the legacy franchises, I really believe that teams are going to have to step into that gap to provide the additional benefits and services that a lot of agents want and need, right? Brick and mortar, a lot of things that we just don't do in the cloud. But the key is we have to take the handcuffs off of the team construct so that an individual agent can be aligned with a team or a member of a team. And again, this is really where I think things are going. I've talked about this on a couple of stages now. This is not about teams versus solo agents. This is about teams versus legacy brokerages. And this is about the divide that other cloud brokerages have created between teams and solo agents, right? By saying, well, if you're going to join a team, you have to give up all these economics and you have to give up your identity. And we just know that's not necessary. And so we really believe that the future of the industry, which is more options ultimately for agents, right? Individual agents have the most power to make choices when we create this type of ecosystem. If an agent can choose between a legacy franchise brokerage, which most are not choosing right now, a cloud brokerage directly, or a relationship with a team inside of a cloud brokerage, that's more choices, more options, more ways for individual agents to be more successful. But again, the first thing we have to do is we have to redefine what it means to be part of a team, right? Because the old definition was built to protect the legacy franchises. The guy who wrote the original book on teams owned the largest legacy franchise network in the country. So of course he baked things into the team model to protect the legacy franchises. Now that that's changing, I see a world where individual agents have even more choices, and LPT is at the forefront of that. Because remember, we're here to help everybody achieve their individual definition of success. And the more options and opportunities we can create for you to realize that individual definition of success, the more chances you have to win. And so I spoke very plainly about this from these stages. No one's really talked this way before in the industry. I think it was very well received. I think it was refreshing for a lot of people. And really what it is, it's about giving as much opportunity as possible to individual agents by creating a broader, new, more inclusive definition of what it means to be a real estate team in the post-legacy franchise real estate world.
More so, like Lewis and I had the opportunity to kind of be out in the crowds afterwards, after you got off stage. And there's a lot of people who are feeling very refreshed by the new view of what you're talking about. And to your point, not a lot of people are talking about it this way. You know, not a lot of people see it this way. And so you're introducing this idea and you're pushing the industry forward, as you've always said from the inception of LPT. Part of the benefit with that, not only would LPT agents benefit from that, but the industry as a whole would have to adopt some of these new things in the way that you're thinking about some of these.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. You know, you and Lewis really felt it being in the audience. You know, we've been to a lot of these events.
Yeah.
And early on, like I've always had our audience here, right? Every Monday. You know, these ideas aren't foreign to the LPT family because we've been talking about them every Monday, 184 Mondays straight without missing one. But the broader industry hasn't really heard these ideas, hasn't heard anybody talk this way. You know, the other CEOs get up on stage and still talk about how they're going to fix their broken economics by selling mortgages to all their agents. I mean, there's just these old school ways of thinking that, the way I put it, look great in a spreadsheet, but don't actually help anybody win or succeed. And then we're focused on these new ideas, this true commitment to IDOS, this true commitment to agent choice. And that's powerful. And again, the legacy franchise brokerages can't figure it out. The other cloud brokerages have struggled to figure it out. But it's been interesting to watch, you know, now that we are the 7th largest brokerage in the United States and we continue to grow and get on these stages and more people are listening. And I think to your point, Matt, and I've always talked about this, I did it on the mortgage side. You know, when I launched RP funding and we stopped charging lender fees and then we started doing the no closing cost refinances and all these different things, we saw overall mortgage costs come down in the markets that we served. So even the competitors had to adjust their models. And I remember telling you years ago, like that was really fulfilling for me because not just the consumers we're helping are getting a better deal, the competitors are now having to figure out how to cut fat out of their models in order to keep up with us. And so more consumers are benefiting. I see the same thing happening in the brokerage space now. Finally, it's taken 4 years, which feels like a long time to me, but it's actually really fast when you think about how staunchy and stuffy and legacy this industry is, that we've been able to make such a massive impact on it in just 48 months. But this little run of conferences really felt different. People are absolutely paying attention and listening to LPT. We're not the challenger anymore. You know, we are now we're the brand. even though we're not the biggest yet, we're the thing that people are now striving to be. Right. We hear people talking about, I'm going to build an LPT killer brokerage, or I'm going to be the next LPT. And I remember that, again, going back to my mortgage days, I remember early on, when I first started TV advertising, there was a very prominent car dealer who was on TV all the time. And I remember asking my TV rep, like, hey, what would it take to be him, right? Like, what would I have to spend? How much do I have to be on TV? Like, what is it going to take for me to be him? And she's like, I don't really know the number, this and that. And then she called me like 3 years, 4 years later, and she said, hey, she's like, I just want to let you know you finally did it, because people now call me and ask me, hey, what does it take to be Robert Palmer on TV? Yeah. How much do I have to spend? How many commercials? And she's like, so whether you realize it or not, she's like, you've now become the thing you asked me about, because you're now the person people ask about when they say, how much do I have to spend on TV to be that guy? And that was now me. And so that's where LPT is. And it's really, really rewarding. And it should be rewarding for all of us, because we all did this together. And, you know, you all out there as the beacon, the front line, helping consumers, proving out these crazy ideas, you know, that come from the former mortgage CEO and me, proving them out every day. And that's the only reason we're winning, is because I can dream up these ideas and we can sit together as an executive team and talk about how we want to drive improvement in the industry. But if you all aren't out there winning at a high level with those strategies, no one takes them seriously. And so it's been a really interesting arc in the company that we're growing into our own finally. We're really maturing as a company, but we're not losing the connection with who we are. And I think that's one of the other things that happens for business owners is when they make it, they change. You know, and I've already had the success. This isn't going to change me. Like, we've already seen it. You know, we've already worked together as a team through big things, but we're now just coming into our own, and it's just going to be a lot more driving the same commitment to IDOS, to agent choice, to helping everyone win and succeed at a higher level, which is we now have a better platform to do that from.
I want to also kind of circle this around, because from the stage also you've talked about the listing private network. That is a new topic and something that everyone's trying to digest and really understand exactly how it affects them. What are your thoughts on that, and what have you been saying to help people understand our positioning as this kind of grows?
I think it's just kind of all of it, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, getting out there again, talking about IDOS is so powerful.
Right.
Like individual definition of success, agent choice. Because I think if you look before, like the original lines were like, well, agent centric. What does that really mean? You know, we're like entrepreneur centric, all these different kind of taglines. IDOS and agent choice are like proven. Like, we literally give you a choice of comp plan. We literally built a comp plan where no matter what your definition of success is, right? We have agents here that are closing a few deals a year up to the nine of the largest teams in the country. There is no better proof of that range of IDOS at a time when other brokerages are losing agents who don't meet the brokerage's definition of success, right? The BDS, the brokerage definition of success, or BDOS, whatever it is, which was the old way, right? If you didn't meet the brokerage's definition of success, you get offboarded, you get left behind, you have to move. IDOS is about building a model to meet you where you are. So I just think it's really powerful. Let's go to some of these headlines. Yep. I think they really tell the story, Matt, as we go through what we're talking about here.
Yeah, Dave. So we've got these the headlines from Inman.
So this was the podcast I did with James DeWiggins. This was a great podcast. And if you want to know more about my origin story, I really shared a lot. You know, James is a great guy. He's built a great little company in Next Home. Really enjoyed getting to know him. They run a fantastic podcast for Inman. While we talked about this idea of private listings being weaponized, and I called it out, that's the clickbaity headline, we really just got to spend time talking a lot of the way I talked to you guys on Motivation Monday. And so I think it was the first time for the broader industry to get a taste of the way we go through things here on Motivation Monday. And again, there's a QR code there that you can check that out, Real Estate Insiders Unfiltered on YouTube. It's about 45 or 50 minutes long. I got a lot of great texts. I got texts from broker owner friends. I got I got a great text from a broker owner friend who's like, I feel more comfortable being a broker owner knowing you're out there representing us. That meant a lot to me. It was a really cool podcast to do. It wasn't your normal kind of real estate talking points. We touched on that, but we just got really deep in, I think, the human side of what we're building here and what IDOS really means, and how I think about the lives we're impacting. So
I think we've got some clips if you want to play that. We'll jump into a market update after that. We're going to play some clips real quick from that podcast.
The thing I learned from being the crazy kid who launched the mortgage company in 2008 was it was actually a massive advantage. While everybody else is like downsizing and trying to figure it out, we are growing into it. We're growing growing into a terrible market. We have no baggage, we have no expectations, and they're all like wounded animals, and we're just going to come in and eat their lunch. And so I wanted to run that model again. And so we literally waited until the Fed signaled they were going to raise interest rates in January or February of 2022, and then officially opened LPT in March of 2022. I took like 60 or 80 people that I was going to have to lay off from the mortgage company. They became the initial employees doing compliance and support and everything inside of LPT, and it was a unified group, and we were off to the races.
People don't realize how you had to pivot and all of that. So great interview. If you have the opportunity to watch it, you'll understand a lot more of how Robert kind of thought about the industry, what drove you from your childhood, and some of the things that you wanted to accomplish that you had already been successful, quote unquote, in your career as it was on the RP funding side, and generational amounts of wealth to say like, hey, if that was your version, you have accomplished that. But then you came back to do something different. And I think that we all know that and hear that, but I think it's a great way. You put it together in such a great way. I think that if you haven't had the opportunity to listen to it, you really should. We're going to head over to Market Update. Give us a quick breakdown. It's been a couple of weeks since we've heard kind of what things are happening, where rates at. We know that earnings reports are happening right now, inflation, jobs reports. What's the update?
Yeah, so the interesting thing is, like, the Fed is largely irrelevant right now until the conflict in Iran is resolved and we figure out what's going to happen with inflation and oil prices and all of the other goods that may be impacted by the shipping restrictions and kind of dislocation over there. The Fed is largely irrelevant. If you think about where we are, Powell's last meeting is chair, new chair coming in, they hold rates steady, really almost no impact on the market. And so the Fed is kind of irrelevant right now. Fed Powell's final meeting, remember, if we went back 6 months ago, like, this was the moment we were waiting for, right? When is Powell's last meeting? Unfortunately, because we have a global conflict happening right now, that impacts oil prices and energy prices and shipping and global logistics and inflation, we didn't get the result we wanted from that. And so, again, Boomsday is being delayed. And I think there's a couple of ways to look at that. One, we can say, oh, man, like, it didn't come, we got to wait longer. Or two, we can celebrate and say, you know what? We now have more time to prepare. We are Boomsday preppers at LPT Realty. We've been getting ready for this boom that is still coming for years now. And we get another couple of months because for a lot of people, I think they were behind on getting ready for Boomsday. Maybe the work didn't get put in November and December, and the things that you learned at FallCon, now there's been time. The folks that came to SpringCon now have a little bit more time to prepare. And so I think that's really the focus, is we need to get really excited about the idea that this conflict in the Middle East, because look, everything else is happening according to plan. And I saw an interesting headline recently that, like, home buyers and home sellers are finally realizing interest rates are going to come down. And I think everybody understands, like, interest rates are going to come down. The Fed got out of the way. Right? Mortgage spreads got out of the way. The final thing that has to get out of our way is this conflict in the Middle East. Now, we have no way of knowing how long that's going to take, and we have no way of knowing what the halo effect around it is going to be. I didn't have, global Middle Eastern conflict on my bingo card for 2026. I don't think many people saw that coming, but here we are. And so take advantage of this time. Use the additional time to prepare, continue to check in on your sphere, continue to empty those power packs, continue to hold those open houses, because remember, every single month that we delay Boomsday means Boomsday will be bigger because more people are kicking the can down the road. More people are delaying that gratification. And we are a country and an economy that hates delayed gratification.
Yeah.
We want everything when we want it. We want it right now. Amazon will deliver us packages on the same day or the next day. But then we have people that are living in houses that they've already committed to moving out of. It's too small. It's in the wrong area. They're going through a divorce. They're having kids. The kids have left the home. Like, all of what I call life happens has continued to happen, but everyone's had to delay the reaction to it because of the mortgage interest rate lock-in effect. The longer we go, the more we're going to see when this thing turns around. So continue to prepare, continue to push on. Underneath the headlines, underneath where rates actually are, everything we need is lining up properly, right? There was actually talk the Fed may raise rates, right? So the fact that they held steady, Powell's getting out of the way, everything that needs to happen is happening underneath the surface. We just have this big distraction with the conflict in Iran going on that is going to keep rates high because of the unknown impact on oil, right? Like, we're using the U.S. Strategic Oil Reserve to keep oil prices somewhat low. How long can we do that? Do things go on too long? That will change the outcome. There's all these unknowns right now, and so we've just got to watch and be patient, but we've got to continue to do the work. And again, view this as a blessing, because for those of us that are boomsday prepping, we have more time to prepare. Right. Because I'll tell you this, when rates were low and I shaved, everybody remembers that. I mean, look at this beautiful beard that I have grown back in, like, how long has this conflict been going on? Like 7-8 weeks? I mean, this is like 7-8 weeks worth of beard here. It's looking beautiful. A little grayer maybe than what I remembered more than 7 weeks ago, but here we are. I'll tell you, there was a moment when rates hit that 5s number and the 10-year got under 4 that I was worried, like, did we do enough to get ready? Right? Did we have enough time? You know, there's always that moment of, like, again, and doomsday prepping boomsday prepping is a take on the whole doomsday idea. Like, whatever. When the day comes, you're always going to feel like you didn't do enough to get ready. Right. And so I think the fact that we have more time to get ready after that little head fake 7 weeks ago, I think was a blessing. I think a lot of people have doubled down. They're doubling down on the spring buying season. They're doubling down on doing those income-producing activities in their business. And when the boom does come, it's going to be magical.
That is right. You're right. There is definitely a lot more gray in that beard from when I first met you. It looks good, though. No, thank you for that explanation. And you are so right. All the things that need to happen are still happening behind the scenes. And for the people who haven't heard that concept, genuinely, when you think about why does someone have a real estate need, right? You mentioned some of the buckets, and it expands way beyond that. But maybe there's people who are willing to put off the decision of those things happening, like you said, because it doesn't make sense for them from an interest rate perspective. They don't want to go from where they are to what the current, market rate is. And so it creates this delay. And at some point, some of that starts to unlock. They just can't take it anymore. But as the rates and as the economy starts to do what it needs to do, then there's going to be a flood of people who are finally willing to unlock those needs. And that is what you have coined as Boomsday. So smart. Thank you for explaining that. Real quick, we're going to jump over to a leadership update. Michael Valdez has put out a book. I don't know if I like I don't know. We're friends, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I like the title of this book. Let's go ahead and put the slide up. You guys help me. Fire your friends.
Yes.
Do I need to? Is there something on the? Do I need to be worried?
I mean, I haven't finished reading it yet, so you're safe for now.
Safe.
I'm safe with Michael. I'm the first friend mentioned in the beginning of the book, so I feel pretty good about that. Fire your friends. So it's really cool. Michael talks a lot about this idea of the right 5 people in your life will help drive where you're going. He talks about the impact of when him and I met and I moved into his life, and some other amazing folks that are kind of his 5. And I think what's amazing is he does this really cool idea of creating an analogy to climbing a mountain, and going from base camp to the top of the summit, and the dangers and the risks of that, and having the right people with you. And so really, really fascinating read. I've read a couple of chapters now. I got the first copy, signed copy. He gave me the first one to be given to anyone when we were together in Austin last week. Started reading it while we were traveling. Really excited about this. And we've got a mastermind coming up in Montana later, and he's going to be talking about this topic there as well. So check out Fire Your Friends.
It is available on Amazon.
I'm available on Amazon. The idea of the right 5 people in your life will elevate where you're going, and that it does change over time. We talk about that a lot. The burden of leadership. When you decide you want to build more, when you decide you want to take your family and your business to new heights, there are people that, as much as you want to take them with you, and no matter how hard you try to take them with you, there are people that just aren't up for the climb. And I think Michael does a really good job of telling that story in a motivating way, a very inspirational way. This idea of finding the right Sherpas to help you get up the mountain, I think, is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. So check that out on Amazon and give some support to Michael.
Yeah, that's right, man. Congratulations, brother. Can't wait to see you in 2 days. Want to walk through the Desi Awards, the Wall Street Journal.
Yes.
What's happening?
Yeah, so we announced the Desi Awards. What was that, like back in February, right?
February.
So for last year, so based on 2025, we identified the top producing agents at LPT at the the state level, which is our national winners, the city level, which is our state winners, and then the zip code level, which is really unique. No brokerage has ever recognized its agents down to the zip code level before, because that's really where real estate happens. And, we're not using MLS data. We used our internal data. We know the new construction homes you sell that aren't in the MLS. We know the off-market deals that aren't in the MLS. We know the deals that are in this agent's name, but this agent participated in it. And so we were really able to go through and identify who's excelling in a zip code at a higher level. It's funny. We had some haters at other brokerages looking people up in the MLS and like, oh, this person should be a top producer. Like, look, you don't know what deals they participate in. Right. You don't know what new construction they sell. But it really told me that we're doing the right thing with this, because as my dad always said, he flew helicopters in Vietnam, and he said, son, they don't start shooting at you until you're over the target. And I can tell you, everybody is shooting at LPT right now. So we are clearly and squarely over the target. The Desis were an absolute representation of that. We have the best data because we are your broker. We know who at LPT participated in the most transactions in every single zip code, and we recognize them with our Desi awards. All of those graphics are still in Connect. But now what we did is we took those names and we published them in the Wall Street Journal and in USA Today. And so our city winners and our national winners were in the Wall Street Journal. And then all of our winners, including the zip code winners, were in the USA Today. USA Today has 5 regions. Okay. And so each of those regions has the agents who are in that region. Now, what we did find is, and next year, I think we're going to just maybe people on the border will put in both, is like the USA Today region breaks in like the middle of North Carolina. Yeah. And so if you went to a Walgreens on the wrong side of the line, you got the paper that didn't have your name in it or whatever. But it was absolutely fantastic. In Florida, we had to run 3 full pages in USA Today in order to get everyone in the Florida region. And so really exciting. One-of-a-kind awards with the Desis, one-of-a-kind recognition now with this Wall Street Journal and USA Today. Those were published on Friday, May 1st. I think we gave you guys the heads up maybe 2 Motivation Mondays ago that was happening. And we have some folks that got the paper and put it on social media. Let's show some of these slides, Davey. Here we go. Jennifer Hubernack got a great picture. She's got some LPT collateral in there with both the Wall Street Journal and the USA Today. Congratulations. Great looking photo there that was shared on on Facebook, on social media. Chris Nevada went through and found all of the members of Nevada Real Estate Group who won Desi Awards that were in the paper and put together recognition for all of his team. Absolutely amazing. Sunit went and got the paper out in Sacramento, Best Sac Home Team. Put a great post there. He's wearing his Reside hat, which is now a wholly owned subsidiary of LPT Holdings. Congratulations there, Sunit. Rudy Kasuma out on the West Coast as well went and grabbed his paper. Rudy joined us a little later, so his agents are not in the Desis because they got here after the Desis happened. But still, big shout out to all of his friends and family at LPT. And I think that's really indicative of our culture. That's right. Even someone who joined LPT after the newspaper or after the Desis were tabulated, still excited to celebrate all the other agents at this brokerage. And I think that is just such an example of the community and the culture we're building here, where there is a genuine desire to share and help other people win. Really, really thankful for that. We've got Shannon Bagdonis. I always butcher your name, Shannon. I'm so sorry. Love Shannon. Got to have lunch with her when she was in town for SpringCon, doing absolutely amazing things up in Michigan. She threw the paper out there as well. And so remember, the Desi, if you are a Desi winner, the Desi graphics are in Connect for you to share. And then we recognized all of our Desi winners in the newspaper nationally between the Wall Street Journal and the USA Today. So that's really excited. And thank you for everyone who shared that. Thank you for everyone who participated. And we're going to do it again next year. So the Desis are an annual thing now. So keep crushing it. Keep helping the consumer in your local market, in your zip code, in your city, in your state. That's how we win together.
That's right. That's right. We're just about at time. Any final words from you for this week? So we're going into the second month of the quarter here, and I can't believe we're already in Q2. We are ramping up to the busiest season of the year. We're going to see what it looks like. We're going to see where Boomsday lands. But what should we be thinking about this week as the May 4th be with you?
Yeah, May 4th. So let's throw the FallCon graphic up. I'm going to leave you with that. If you have not made your plans yet to attend FallCon, make sure you get it on your calendar. Make sure you get your hotel rooms in Lakeland figured out. Coming up in October in Lakeland, Florida at the RP Funding Center. You can attend for as little as $2.99 for general admission or all the way up to $25.99 for that VIP ticket. Right now, each ticket does still come with a buddy pass. So that $2.99 ticket gets you and a non-LPT agent and is your guest. The certification ticket does the same thing. The VIP ticket does the same thing. We're probably going to close VIP ticket sales next week. As far as the buddy pass, the early bird VIP with the buddy pass, we've sold a bunch of those. We've expanded the room once already. I'm probably going to give everybody till next Monday. If we can put an email out about that, Hodge, just to let everybody know. And then officially next Monday, we will be closing the VIP buddy pass for FallCon. Certifications, general admissions, still have those available, but make sure that's on your calendar. Make sure you're there. Absolutely amazing event. We're holding it at the RP Funding Center. Yes, that RP stands for Robert Palmer, because I'm able to work an amazing deal there as the naming rights partner for that building, so that we could do an event, a full, multi-day event for that low of a ticket price. When you look at, even our own event, $1,000 last year, and we're keeping the certification track at the higher level, but we want everybody to come. I want to see thousands and thousands of LPT agents there. We're also going to do the free expo again. So even if you can't do the $2.99 ticket, you want to come and not go to any of the sessions and just hang out in the free expo, there will be a free expo there. Really exciting. And so make sure you grab those FallCon tickets. Make sure you put October 6th on your calendar. I want to see everybody in Lakeland, Florida. I want to take over that town. It's the city I grew up in. I graduated high school in the RP Funding Center. I got to give a commencement speech to the RP Funding Center graduating class the first year we renamed the building. I'm really excited to welcome everybody to my hometown of Lakeland. And let's take it over. Let's turn Lakeland LPT country that first week of October. So make sure you get it on your calendar, make sure you get your tickets, and make sure we see you at FallCon. Other than that, we just continue to do the things we got to do. SpringCon was an absolute hit. Enjoyed spending time with all of our amazing agents who came in for SpringCon. A lot of travel, a lot of on the conference circuit right now. Really enjoyed meeting everyone we've got to see in person. Hope to meet everybody at FallCon this year. But again, take this delay in Boomsday and use it as a gift. Double down on the preparation, double down on the work, right? There are more and more people delaying. We are going to be ready. A lot of people are giving up right now. A lot of agents are giving up. The industry is starting to shift. This consolidation for the sake of consolidation that's happening all around us. We are here to remain committed to our program, your individual definition of success, agent choice, winning together. We are building something new. And you don't build something new by consolidating with something old. And I think that's where a couple of these big national brokerages have maybe misstepped here at the beginning of this year with this chase for consolidation for the sake of consolidation. So stay committed, stay focused on your customers. Our clients come first for you. You all as agents come first for us. We win together. It's the magic formula. It's the future of real estate. It's your brokerage for life. We'll see you next week here on Motivational Monday.